Now, how do you know that somebody on the internet is full of it, or if they're the real deal? Now, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Especially at the cusp of AI generating footage that is so difficult to discern. Now, last year, I ended up with an amazing crew at an awesome event that was hosted by Surefire, with a few other content creators, like Luke C. from TFB and Ivan from Kit Badger. And we spent 4 days shooting pistols under the instruction of Matt Pranka. Now, one thing was clear. All three of us watched each other's footage. Well, in Luke's case, read his articles. But until that point, we had never met each other. And yet we were confident that the other person here was portraying an honest level of skill and knowledge. Now, I don't say that we were pushing the highest level of shooting, because all three of us admitted that while we are certainly not novices, we most definitely had a lot to learn from the likes of Matt Pranka in the realm of pistol shooting. So, the question remains, in this large sea of content, how do you discern on whom is the professional bullshit artist, the propagandist, or the liar, versus who is genuinely in the market to seek the truth with you, the audience? Now, the following is an uncut conversation with Luke and Ivan. Now, I hope you like it, as I've personally enjoyed their company and insights immensely. We'll see you there. Okay. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with Ivan from Kit Badger and Luke C. from TFB. Now, all three of us are friends. We talk offline. We ended up here thanks to Surefire and Staccato Ranch for having us. Cheers to Matt Pranka at X-Ray Alpha for teaching us an incredible amount of stuff. But sort of a conversation that popped up here, especially at least for me, we're all content creators, and we all have the ability of making stuff look really sexy on camera if we wanted to, right?
Curated.
Yeah. We have final editorial on everything that goes out. But all three of us, in conversation, I know we came with an idea that we were going to learn stuff. Pistol's not one of my focuses when I go shoot. I'd say 1 out of every 5 times I go to the range, I shoot pistols maybe. And when I do, it's usually just checking stuff that we're reviewing. And then every now and then I shoot my concealed pistol, just to get the concealment stuff going. What do you guys think about some content creators out there that get to curate stuff? Is there any credence, like what's the level of editorial that you guys think should go into content that goes out there that makes someone look really, really, really good?
I guess part of it is like what you're trying to convey. Like, am I trying to convey a story about actually reviewing a product, or am I trying to convey how cool I am? Like, yeah. Those are going to give you a different end state. And so everyone, to include all three of us, curate what we present. Yeah. Like, it's all curated. For my own part, I fail at stuff all the time. And I'll go out and I'll be like, cool, gonna shoot a cold start. Never shot this gun, like threw an optic on it, definitely not zeroed, and I pretty much fail all of them. Like, cool, whatever. But it's one of those where I will also curate things where, like, I'm trying to run a drill and I'll shoot through the drill and I'll drop shots. I don't know, stuff will go wrong and I'll be like, no, like, I'm gonna go shoot that again. And I won't post the one that's totally screwed up, but it's the why behind it. Like, I'm not posting it because it's not helping me tell a story about a product. So if I screw up, there's plenty of stuff of me screwing up, like, that gets posted, but usually it's it's totally humanizing because it's relatable, unless you're perfect. Congratulations if you are. But like, it's relatable when you screw up, but it's one of those from a storytelling standpoint of trying to review something. If I'm just all ate up on something, there's zero value there. Like, it doesn't help me tell the story about whatever I'm trying to review, a gun optic, things like that, unless I'm getting hung up on this. Like, hey, I went to go, like, switch shoulders, and this reticle doesn't play well with my eye, and I ended up, like, shanking 3 rounds straight up before I finally figured out what was going on. Then that's part of the story, and it's valuable because it lends to what I'm doing, which at the root is trying to review things, not like, hey man, check out how good I am, like my 27th run on this.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, it's kind of something that Josh and I have talked about quite a bit, right? It's a balance between, because we have to maintain a certain level of credibility.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
That's just being realistic out there. If you post a bunch of failures online and you're known as Mr. Failure, I mean, it's not that you don't want to post failures.
The messenger matters.
Right, right. What are you trying to do with it, right? And for me at least, I identified something just today, right? When we shot that course that's picked up right now, but that course behind us hit everything really well. Once I got to the 25-meter one, I kept on missing it. And I shanked it. Like, I added like 14 seconds to everything. Went all the mistakes that you would run into, went to slide lock, ran out of ammo. Even when I was back, I was still off. But part of that, whenever I went back and I shot it without people watching, it was fine. So that's something that I saw that I was doing to myself as I was shooting.
Yeah, just giving yourself too much pressure.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, a lot of us, Ivan, I know you film by yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Luke.
It's mostly just me or Hop in the woods, and that's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a lot of times, like, go out with your boys, you have a lot of fun doing it. You can film a lot of stuff. And it's not that people would be lying about things and doing multiple takes and building a story of an experience that they have. But I think it's important for a lot of us to also face each other in the mirror and look at exactly what our strengths and weaknesses are. And for me, at least, I'm focused on products a lot of times. I'm focused on war stories behind these rifles all the time.
It's easy to get stuck doing the thing.
Yeah.
And so, by way of example, like when my attention is always split. Like,
set up the camera.
I understand you're saying this thing over here, and I should be paying attention. Like, am I getting this shot? Because I know, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm here to, like, create content on this thing. And so it's like this split of attention. And then it's like, oh man, like, it's time to do the thing. And it's like, oh man, the wheels just fell off. Like, all right, that's what I got.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, on that point, you can separate content, or I hate that word so much, content, but you can separate the videos that are coming out from pretty much all creators into 2 very broad categories. It's either entertainment or it's informational. Now, sometimes those mix very well, sometimes they don't, but, you know, I think all 3 of us tend to be on the more informational side of things. I think we can all agree, like, we're more after the story of the item, like you said, with some of the historical stuff. For you're testing out items. I review a lot of firearms. A lot of times we're taking training courses. And when you're trying to do that, I try to make sure that anything that I'm editing and putting on there, like if I cut out, like say we do a bill drill, and I completely just try to burn it down and none of the rounds land inside of the target, and you can see that on camera, that only does one of 2 things. Either it tells people I'm really bad at shooting, or it doesn't demonstrate the drill properly, right? And that I don't think does the viewer any service. It doesn't show them, here's the correct way to do the thing. And if that's what I'm trying to show, then I want to make sure that they get a correct view of what is the optimal result. Versus, like, if it's just, hey, like, how does Luke do on a dry run on a bill drill? I'm probably going to miss 3 out of 6 shots. So, I don't know. I think it's either, a lot of times information can be entertaining, but generally I find that, like, heavier edited content tends to be more entertainment, and less edited content tends to be more informational.
Let me ask you this, though. So, okay, you guys watch our channel. We do a segment called Practical Accuracy, where we take a rifle, we shoot up to 40 rounds to do a standard course of fire to see how well it shoots. The scoring procedure is how many misses versus how many hits are there, right? How we deliberately did that, because we wanted to show rifles in a very structured setting, how they stack up against each other. Yeah. We have a scoreboard of all of those things. We did that deliberately because we were watching a lot of content and seeing a lot of, when you see a lot of B-rolls segmented in between shots, I mean, sometimes that's kind of like a red flag that pops in my mind.
Cherry pick through
cherry pick. So how, like, as you guys, as content guys, we have a kind of a peer behind the curtain. How do you watch content that kind of gives you a red flag on, that may not be that they're lying, but there's a possibility?
I think it's a longevity thing with respect to people watching channels. For example, like whenever I shoot groups, I'll usually shoot groups at 100, 2 5-shot groups of 2 different ammos, and I'll go through a number of different ammos. And I will always like preface it or end it with sample size of 1. Like, this is what I got out here today. I know the guy with the quarter MOA, Mosin Nagant, I'm sure he could do better, like with the same setup. So like, I get it. You're a better shooter than me. Noted. And I mean, really what it comes down to though is it's like, hey, it's a sample size of 1. And I think, for example, if you're actually a really good shooter and you're watching content, you will come to recognize like the skills and ability of the people that you're watching.
Correct.
Like, I am not a ninja. Definitely not with a pistol, as the last couple of days have demonstrated. But the viewers of whomever will eventually see like, oh, like you can shoot this, like you're at this level. So my expectation of that gun that you just shot groups with, I can probably do better than that. Now there's a lot of people that say that in their mind and they can't, because
well, not just sample size of 1, but also like range session 1 of 1. Like, you don't get to observe that gun being fired by anyone else like throughout the video, right? Yeah. Or on a different day, different weather conditions, stuff like that. There's all sorts of variables.
I mean, in fairness, there have been times when, like, I know I'm so jacked up, I'm like, I'm going to pack up and come back another day. Like, I'm not doing anyone or anything a service by, like, continuing to shoot today. Like, I'll revisit this when, like, because I know I'm messed up.
And even on good days, you can never be 100% perfect. I mean, like, take Matt Pranka as a perfect example of that, just because, today, like, what was it? He walks up to the thing and, like, 3 out of the 4 runs, he's frustrated with himself because he's dropping shots and stuff like that. But it happens to everyone. I don't think the 30,000-foot view on that has to be, like Ivan said, you've established a track record of consistently, like behavior and expectations for your viewers, right? And I think maintaining that is one thing, but like, we're going to courses like this partially because we're also shooters. We're not just here to make the content, right? We want, as firearm owners and concealed carriers, whatever, we want to improve too, right? And I think it's important to show that as well, and that's why I think leaving mistakes in context is very important.
So basically coming up with a method of looking at the long-term items or videos that the content creator has been making.
I think, I mean, ultimately it all comes down to, one, terrible as it is, social media, like there's cults of personality. The end. But the onus is on someone to actually vet whoever they're watching. As far as like, hey, like, do I take this person serious? Or not even, I mean, there's people that are really funny and are always joking around and stuff, but do I get the impression this person is like telling me the truth about like their experience and stuff? And I think if you have a big enough body then that will become apparent. And over a long enough timeline, you'll realize some people, maybe I'm going to kind of take this with a grain of salt. Like, I don't know. If they put out the same Olight video as 20 other people on the same day at the same time.
Like, those launch date releases.
Olight.
I mean, I think that's kind of something for us in our channel sizes. I think that's something that's frustrating because a lot of times we don't end up with a massive support behind what we do. I mean, let's be real. It's us.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're looking at the production team for our respective publications, right? And when you're looking at some of these other guys, what they're doing and the amount of effort they're putting into it and the return, it could be frustrating because we're trying really hard from a shooter's perspective to better ourselves as well. But then at the same time, there's also the logistical side. You know, there's time is a thing. Life, you have life happening in between.
Yeah.
And frankly, it is difficult to go out to do content for weekly publication sometimes.
Yeah.
And so when it comes back to it, and you're looking at, where am I getting this?
Like time spent on per video.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that, but I'm trying to tie it back to reality versus.
Well, I mean, part of it is you're also, because time's real and life's real, you're going to the range to do the thing.
Yeah.
And so there are times when, hey, you know what I should really do is I should like take this 50 rounds and actually do this drill on things that I actually need to work on. But instead I'm going to take those 50 rounds and do some like one reload one because I need some B-roll of showing manipulation so that I can end up speaking to this gun and the controls and blah, blah, blah. And so there, for me personally, like there's definitely a gap between training and work. While there's absolutely overlap with some of those, like sometimes you're at the range just because you need to work, and it's not, there's not the like personal improvement piece that should probably be there.
Yeah.
Ideally, just because you got to do the thing because you need to go pick up your kids.
Yeah, let's be real. I mean, it started a lot for me, anyways. It started as a hobby. But now it's work.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the range because I need to work on stuff. I need to get all these things zeroed so we can take it out to shoot the practical accuracy course. Like, I go out, and that, by the way, that is non-film time for me, too.
Yeah.
It's equipment prep. It's the actual review process that is not being recorded. I think a lot of times, I mean, it's a difficult thing because the internet likes to be black or white. But the world we live in is rarely black and white.
Always nuanced.
So, I mean, when you're looking at it, people are saying, oh, you're doing a lot of B-roll cuts, and so what are you hiding? Well, then maybe that trip that you had to cut short because your kid had an accident at school, right?
I'll interrupt you and say this, like when I go out and film, I will bring extra guns with me that I didn't initially plan on bringing just to get extra B-roll for them. Not necessarily because I'm trying to get footage to cover stuff up with, but there are cases, and for example, like I don't know if you guys do this, but I shoot A-roll by myself, so I don't have anyone like coaching me.
On
I make
mountaintop. Yes,
I make well, I see yours. Like you're my eastern neighbor, so like. The A-roll, you're never going to make delivery perfect. Like right now, you're getting a raw, uncut video.
Yeah.
Probably. I hope so, Henry. But but like if you completely flub a word, why keep that in? Who's that serving, right? So I need that extra B-roll of this gun. So like when I do go to make the review, those audio cuts for the A-roll can be covered so the viewer isn't distracted.
I definitely have done that.
Yeah, I do it all the time, and I will 100% admit to that. And if you catch me doing it, that's why I do it. I do it because I'm covering up verbal mistakes, not necessarily.
Otherwise, like 3 minutes in, and then you mess something up, and you're like,
You guys don't like to do hard cuts either. I mean, I don't like to do hard cuts on my stuff either.
Oh, you're talking about like without like a B-roll?
Yeah, without mastering.
There's so many non-firearm YouTube channels that I watch where people do it, and I find myself distracted by it. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because I edit and shoot video, or if it's, I don't know. Who knows?
You're just from an older generation. Like
no.
You review 22s, man. You're the 22 man.
Don't tell Dave that. 22 Playing Through and I are friends. Don't tell Dave that. I'm not trying to steal your job, Dave.
I think when we're looking back at it, I mean, bringing the topic, it's nuanced is a big thing, right? I think looking back at it, having peeks behind the curtains from a content creator perspective, coming out here, meeting more guys that we've had dialogue, but have only. This is the first time I met you guys in
this is like Instagram for me and you for the entire time. So
IRL friend now.
No, it's cool. It's cool actually seeing all three of us work on stuff at the same time. Like clearly, all three of us are actually trying to work on skill set.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's also just like enjoy the journey. Like you're not getting it in 3 days.
Yeah. So, all right. So, to draw this back to the original question of what people see in front of the camera and what goes on behind the camera, what kind of advice do you guys have for people watching stuff on YouTube? And Ivan, I'm going to lean on you a little bit on this because we have kids who are in the social media era. And I think a lot of this stuff ties back into how we talk to our children about social media and how to actually be decent human beings.
Right.
How do you look at YouTube channels, and how do you look at which YouTube channels you like consuming and will genuinely follow and trust?
That's a hard question.
It's a terrible question for me because I consume nothing. Like I don't watch, like, twofold, real quick, like honestly twofold. Like one, I'm kind of the mind, like I don't want to watch other things because I don't want to unknowingly like take from something that I've seen, like unknowingly. Mm-hmm. Like I'd rather just do my thing, and all my stuff's pretty formulaic. I think with respect to like people being able to vet other people, like that's probably important. Like unless you're just, there's some amazing entertainers out there, like 100%. Like taking nothing from them. If you're looking for information, then man, the onus is on you for kind of vetting people. I think one of the best ways probably, and maybe I'm just saying this with a bias, but watch people in uncontrolled environments. And what I mean by that is I've gone through and posted, I don't know if I posted them all yet, but most recently posted like all the stages from Finished Brutality. Mm-hmm. Like they're unedited, like it's a single continuous shot. Like you'll see misses, you'll see all those things, and it's you can't fake that. And I'm not saying I did amazing, like I definitely did not, but like it's a snapshot of whoever you happen to be taking things from. And so is someone sitting behind a desk and you've never seen them shoot a gun, like there they are in their basement again telling you about how the last time, like, throw a football over that mountain, bro.
I caught a fish this big.
Right, like, cool, man. And so, I mean, it's one of those where, like, the messenger matters at a certain point, but I think a good metric is to actually watch people go do the thing in a place that's kind of, like, raw, to where you're like, oh, like, yeah, that's that. And, I mean, I will also caveat that with, you don't have to be a ninja to, like, talk about the thing, in that you can be really educated on something and not be very good at it. So, like, I don't have a good answer, but yeah.
What I got from what you're saying is try to look at some people and how open their openness. Look at the openness of some people and the willingness to show who they are on the internet.
I think so. Yeah, and I mean, keeping in mind everything's curated, but
I think the only way, from where I look at it, the only way to really vet stuff on YouTube is to be educated yourself. You can't rely on YouTube videos to give you a complete understanding of one singular topic. You have to put in the effort and go probably read books or articles that you don't want to read, or listen to something that you don't want to listen to for a couple of hours, probably several times, before you get a good grasp on it. And I think that's really the only way you can look at a video or like a set of information that someone's giving you and just say whether or not it's good information or bad information. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the problem that we have to struggle with, is that I think, all three of us have slightly different audiences, but I think there's a level in our heads when we say, what is the base knowledge, like what's the base level of knowledge that I'm catering this information to in my audience? And it's going to be different for everyone. And I think the people coming to your video, if you do things right, you are actually communicating to them on a level, that's...
Sorry, I'm trying to double check to make sure it's...
Oh, you're good.
Still good? All right.
Insert some B-roll there.
Yeah, insert some B-roll, and then we can cover it. This is exactly how it's going to go.
We could show them how that works, too.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
But anyway, I was just going to say, long story short, don't don't just trust what people say on the internet, even if they are well-renowned. Like, people do make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but you should...
Us three included. Like, I mess up on stuff all the time. Like, it frustrates me with respect to video content, because it's not like a daily publication where I can, like, publish a correction or something like that.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if there's something egregious, I'll pin it at the top of the comment, like, hey, what I was trying to get was this, like, my bad.
And that's actually a good point. Like, from a YouTube perspective, a lot of times, I mean, we do this, all three of us do this as full-time jobs, right?
No.
No? Not you.
You do.
We do. Me and you do.
That's why you have money.
So, God, ain't that the truth?
I don't have money, man.
So Ivan knows just as well as I do, like, if you do post...
health insurance.
Oh, man, that's a nice thing to have.
It is.
But if Ivan, like, you know, Ivan or me posts something with an egregious mistake in it, and that video is already doing well, we know from a monetary side of things, taking down that video, editing that portion out, and re-uploading it is probably going to hurt us monetarily in the long run, which is why what he said, you know, he'll catch it, or someone will mention it to him, post it in the top comment, because, again, there's a monetary incentive for us to keep that video up. But the intention isn't to give you...
Much, though.
It's not much. It's not much, especially at the subscriber level.
If something's really bad, like, I'll just be like, I need to recut that video. But usually it's where I misspeak on something like that. And then also the other thing to remember is people, humans, can change. And with that, like, through experiences, you will hopefully continue to grow and change. And so something you said, like, may have very well been true for you at that point in time, but depending on where you are in the journey, like, it might have changed.
Yeah, like, I mean, a perfect example of that, I'm a huge...
Hold up.
7? Yeah. So anyway, your example? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, an example of this for me is, like, I grew up in, you know, the era of, like, you know, GWAT's going on, like, you know, all the desert wars, and so I'm looking at M16s and, you know, M4s and stuff like that. I used to think vertical foregrips were like the be-all, end-all of like, accessories on your rifle, and now I'm at a point where they don't help me anymore, and I actually think they're kind of stupid because of the kind of shooting I do. Don't change what you're doing because of me, but I
came full circle. They're cool again. Nostalgia,
yeah, right? Well, I mean...
No,
that's
what
a
it
whole
all
other
comes
subject.
back to is know why you're doing what you're doing. And if something is working for you, like, make it work. And,
Like Matt said during our course here at Staccato Ranch, if the second he finds something that works better than what he's currently doing, he's instantly adopting it. And so you're allowed to change your opinion on something, and I think you should, especially if it's beneficial to you.
So I think a lot of what you guys were talking about, I completely agree with. One thing that I wanted to highlight was the...
Insert B-roll.
No. The comprehension literacy into videos. You know, being able, as people who watch video, who can, whether you watch video or not, people who consume media, being able to work on your comprehension to media is key. Media is becoming more and more biased. It's becoming more and more... the lines between public relations and media have become very, very blurred these days. I think it's important for people to develop a skill to competently discern what part of this media...
As far as, like, just on a broader level, as far as, like, hey, man, like, how's your bullshit meter?
Yeah, precisely.
Bullshit meter is a good way to put it.
But the other side to that, I think, also comes down to an introspective thought. We are humans. We all have desires for things. We all buy things that we think are really cool, and we want to, you know, some type of confirmation that we got the cool thing and we weren't idiots. I bought plenty of stupid things in the past. I think that's the other side, outside of just looking at the external side, you know, what kind of content people are putting down, what type of stuff people are laying down on the table, and what the bullshit meter for it is.
Yeah.
Introspectively looking at how biased are you in wanting this.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying as far as like know why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
In that, like, there's so many examples of it. And genuinely, when I do a review on something, like, I would rather you not buy it. Like, there's probably other things in your life that could improve your quality of life, to include getting a good night's sleep, that'll have a better measurable impact than this thing.
Health insurance is one of those things that you should probably buy.
No, but like really and truly. And so it's like we were talking about guns. Like every time I go to the range, like new gun, new optic, like new ammo, new trigger, like every single thing is a variable out there, which can be frustrating, and it is what it is. You would be better served with one rifle and one pistol, like for sure. And so if you want to spend your money however you want, because that's yours. If you want to do something that's going to give you a meaningful improvement, be it this piece of gear or whatever, like just be honest with yourself of what you're looking for coming out the other side, and if that's actually going to help you to that end. I think with respect to kind of what we're doing, to the point you're speaking of, is essentially being able to vet information coming in, and I'm assuming as far as like the whole bullshit meter type thing, right?
Yeah.
Like just broad sense.
I mean, that's where, like, circling back to where we started with, you know, I know a lot of people have been talking about, you know, the frustration with content creators, GunTubers online. You know, how good are they actually when they're displaying this?
Bad on you for watching. I never knew that.
It's in the comment section, Ivan. If you read your comments, you know. I write you love notes in the comments. You just ignore them. But I think that, you know, going back to that, you know, how, and this is going to be a difficult thing, you know, like telling people how to watch content, but really at the end of the day is...
I mean, that's one of those silly things, though, too. Like, how good is this guy? Does it matter?
Yeah.
Really, though, because, I mean, it's like the stuff we do, or the stuff we did here, which none of us did very good at, was like some, I guess, would this be IDPA?
USPSA.
USPSA type stuff, which they're like, hey, this hit factor thing, I'm like, sounds like math, man. Like, I still don't get it.
Oh, it's math.
All right. But it's one of those where there's a lot of value in this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's tons of value in, like, largely any competition, because the person you're talking about on a certain level is the person that's, like, going to be like, oh, man, like, I can do better than that. It's like, you haven't shot your gun in 3 years. Like, you probably can't. And as soon as it's really uncomfortable to go get in front of other people and not do good.
Exactly what I was saying about
it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like, if you put yourself out there, it happens a lot. And there's times when I'll actually do pretty good in competitions, not because I'm good by any stretch. Like, my mediocrity is right here, and this shooter's right here, but they rarely get thrown into, like, a stressful situation, and then the buzzer goes, and they fall below my mediocreness right here, and I'm like, I won. Like, not because I'm good, just because of, like, this stress inoculation thing.
Yeah.
And the more you can actually do those skills outside of this isolation, one, you realize the waters are deep, man. Like, they're really deep. There's some really good people out there. But then you also step away from, you end up better educated on everything, to where when you see people shoot, like, you're in a better place to vet information coming back from them too, because you're like, hey, I've went and done the thing, and like, that person moves bad, man. Like, that, just subtle things.
So, you know, I brought this up earlier to you specifically because you went to boot.
Yeah.
We got a lot of comments on our practical accuracy out of 500 yards.
I mean, if you wouldn't have joined because you would have knocked that drill instructor out, I totally understand. That's cool.
But the guy coming to us on our channel is saying that they qualified expert at 500 yards with iron sights, and so yada yada yada. 23 years ago.
I mean, if you got to open with your resume, then maybe you just shouldn't type that comment.
You know, show us is a big thing. Well,
show
but really, I mean, introspectively looking back at it, right? You know, if it's a skill I had many decades ago, like this is a skill I had 15 years ago. And stepping back into it.
Surprise, perishable.
Yeah. It's that meme where Detective Dokes comes out from the corner. Surprise, motherfucker!
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of to what you're speaking of too, though, is that I think everyone would be good to leave with this. The comments section is not a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, that's not it. And usually what happens is, hey, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. Obviously, I didn't do a good job conveying something because there's some sort of nuance and that wasn't conveyed because you're coming from it from a totally different place. And so it's not a place to really have a conversation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people throw things out there like, I could do this. And maybe, like, I don't know, does it add to the conversation? Not really. All right.
This is where I think the individual communities of each YouTube channel kind of come into play. Like, I think most...
Like a curated audience, you mean?
Well, almost. Like for example, like TFB TV, we have our Discord channel. And in there, I know there's several guys who are not TFB TV presenters who are very experienced shooters in several different disciplines that I can ping and ask them for information. And it's not just me who gets access to that. Our audience actually has access to that as well, so they can talk to one another and figure things out. Like, there's a lot of smart people out there.
Yeah, and it's a format where there's
a back and forth.
A back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, I can ask a question and get an answer. Same with, like, my Discord, which I ended up putting a paywall in front of, like, for no other reason than generally there's 3 kinds of comments you get in the comment section. One is... One is, hey, will you Google this for me? Like, that's their question. And then the other one is, hey, will you validate me in something I just bought, even though I already made my mind up? Please validate what I'm choosing, whatever it is, gun, piece of gear, or something like that. And then there's the other one, which is kind of why I just stay out of the comments section. It's like, hey, blah, 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 something stupid. And as a presenter trying to convey information, I'm like, oh, man, like, you obviously don't get it. Like, I didn't do a good job explaining myself. What I was trying to get at was, and then very quickly you find out, like, oh no, you just want to argue with someone.
Yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with you not understanding what I was trying to convey. And then there's also the question of, hey, I have a question, a quick question, which involves me asking you 5 questions so that I can figure out what your quick question is.
Right.
All right, so future jump real quick. We realized that Ivan had been berating the comment section and he's got a little bit of a remorse, baby.
People absolutely do provide value and stuff like that in the comment section on occasion. And like, as a content creator, how much time do you have to like sift through all of the nonsense to find that, which can be difficult. But I do think occasionally people add value. And the way that gets added is someone actually explaining an experience, not, hey, let me tell you what my feelings are. Like, I hate this. Cool, like, why don't you flesh that out a little bit? But when people are like, oh, you know what, like, I ran into that before and I fixed it through this, or my experience was this, in that I was using it in this context, blah, 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 and I ran into this. Where you can actually flesh something out rather than just like a pot shot and, I don't know, trying to get a response or something.
So, quick jump back to the conversation. See you guys there.
Or they'll give you, like, the comment will have not enough information to actually answer. If it really is a question in the comments,
for sure.
They won't give you enough information. And it's like, I need to ask you a bunch of other questions.
So I would encourage people that actually have questions to get in those respective communities like Discord and stuff, where you can actually have conversations that go back and forth, and there's a lot of good information in there too.
Or in person.
Live streams sometimes are also a good thing. Like, I know, like, when live streams happen, a lot of people who broadcast will use the super chats, I think is what they're called. Like, you can use a super chat, and then that's a good way for, like, man, okay, like, I want to know the answer to this. I'm gonna pay you $5 and ask my $5 question, and then you get to answer it on audio. You know, you get to listen to it 1,000 times if you want to. So.
Yeah, but you also, when you're doing live streams, like for us, for instance, our live streams were very purpose driven. Like, you don't want to drive onto a live stream where we're talking about the design that Paul Mauser chose, and go on and say, like, hey,
Yeah,
Josh,
something
USPSA
wild.
question.
I would say, like, most creators that I've seen now who at least learn their lesson initially will not answer your question even if you've given them money, because you're disrupting the actual conversation that is taking place.
For live streams, you mean?
For live streams, yeah.
All right, but going back to, content discernment, shall I say, looking at the internet in general, what should you believe, what should you not believe? I am of a firm belief that it is being able to actively understand what someone is talking about, but then also understand what you approach it, with yourself. What are you trying to look for? What kind of questions are you posing that you want answered sometimes?
Like show up looking for information rather than just waiting to be like spoon-fed something.
Right. And understand that
lands or not.
Understand where you're standing. Understand where you're standing, so you avoid putting yourself into any type of a bias for or against, whatever.
The internet's really bad for confirmation bias, I'll just say it. Like, you can find your answer to anything as if you try hard enough.
The algorithm is literally hardwired to feed towards confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I constantly have to fight, is to fight against that algorithm when I'm trying to research stuff.
Yeah, and a good example of this, how many of us are immune from, or how many of us are influenced by the media?
Yeah.
I'm influenced by the media. I like to say that I'm not, but it's not true. Saying you're not influenced by the media is a very clear sign that you are influenced by the media.
Yeah. So the last 3 days have been pretty rad.
Very rad.
That sounds weird coming from you.
Why?
That's our word. Skibbity
Rad?
is your word.
Yeah. Skibbity is not my word. I don't even know what skibbity means, man. It was a sick week. It was illin'.
No, it was a good week. It was a good week in looking in the mirror for us. But as I look in the mirror and look around with content creators, I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about, what do you look for when you're looking at content, and how do you look at content to better yourselves?
Yeah.
Rather than just, are you entertained? But that was my
context.
thought.
Yeah, context.
Yeah.
Like for the class, I mean, tell me what you think is important, and then show me the receipts.
Yeah.
And if everything checks out, yeah, sure, well, I'm on board.
All right. So, anything you would like to tell our audience on our side of 9 Hole Reviews? You suck.
Make Henry dress up more. I really like it when Henry dresses up.
Oh no, Luke! I don't know what kind of audience you're going to trigger with that comment.
The bad kind.
So, thoughts? Anything?
I'll share a lesson I learned this week from the class. So we've been training with Matt Branca, and we're doing low light stuff. And we've been here all week running really long days. So we've been doing a lot of daytime shooting and then a lot of nighttime shooting. I've always been like doing low light classes. Like, smoke is always a huge thing, and it always screws me up. But Matt just proved everything I assumed that was wrong with that situation is actually not true. Like, it's just a target confirmation issue, really. Right. And now that we've done that, I can actually take that home and practice it. And I think, it's a very rare situation. But it was an assumption I held in as almost like a fact. Like, there was nothing that was going to change it. But again, Matt said it, and everyone was like, well, wait, hold on. You can see through the smoke, or you can aim through the smoke. And then he just demonstrated it. So it's a good lesson to learn.
I think stuff like this is difficult for us as content creators, because a lot of times we walk away from this thinking, how can we make a video on this? How can we describe this thing that just came to my mind? And that happens so much through my daily life that inevitably I lose, I don't know, like 30-40% of that by just not writing it down. Yeah. But now we have that documented. Maybe you at TFB TV shall document shooting in smoky rooms.
Shooting in smoky rooms. Oh, man, now I'm going to have to build a house.
James Reeves is like smoking cigarettes profusely on the course.
Got to get him a tracksuit for that first.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, gentlemen, it's the end of 3 days. I think we're ready to go chill. Yeah?
Yeah. Beer o'clock.
See you guys on the range, though.